Okay.
We do not have a quorum today. I guess I'm flying solo. But happy to be here.
Commissioner
and-
Peters is on the phone.
Oh, she is. Oh, good. Okay, so we have.
Sorry, Gina.
No.
Things weren't going well this morning and I would have gotten there in time to leave. Because
Yeah.
it's a good 45-minute drive for me.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm glad you're here in some form or fashion, and if you have a question as we go along, just let me know. This will be, should be pretty quick because we are going to, since we don't have a quorum, we'll skip our action items. Do we have any public comment for today's meeting? Okay, great. So we're gonna go right into our state legislative update with Ron Pierce. And we have our state legislative priorities to discuss today too. So good morning, Ron.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Brad, do you want me to run through this? Do you want to run through it? What's your pleasure this morning?
You can kind of maybe kick it off and just talk about what we go through it a little bit.
Okay, perfect. So first part, if you look at the top, first 5 items, which we kind of did last year as well, I think it's important to continue to tell our story with regards to how fiscally conservative we are from the standpoint of reducing taxes, administrative costs, how we continue to work with partners to privatize certain aspects of the business, increasing passenger revenues, especially as it relates to tourists. I think highlighting the impact we have from an economic development standpoint, while increasing ridership year over year, I think is important. So that's just, as we did that last year based upon the previous 2 sessions. We felt that it's important to continue to kind of tell our story as it relates to the budget and some of the decisions that you all are making. As it relates to Tallahassee specifically, we'd have 5 items that we'd recommend that you work on. Number 1 is maintain the state block grant funding and overall transit funding. If you all recall last year, when the budgets initially came out, the House and Senate had very different numbers. It ended up in a good place, but we want to ensure that those numbers, at a minimum, stay where they are. But if we could obviously get an increase there, that would be wonderful. An increase in startup service development grant funding. If you all recall, last year, this funding was impacted by the dock stamp bill and a couple other things. And so making sure that we have the startup service development grant funding increase, more importantly, put back into place would be big for us. Maintain transportation disadvantage funding. We do that every year. That's something that is critically important to some of the programs that we run from a PSTA perspective. So making sure at a minimum the funding for the block grant as well as the ISD funding stays where it is. Obviously, would love to get any type of an increase there as well. Supporting funds for non-federal share of capital match projects for shelters and TSP technology and ferry projects. That's something the state has done. We will obviously want to continue to support that. And probably the last one, Madam Chair, that we want you and the board to consider is, we've talked, we didn't do it last year, but I think this year can be a good year to do it. I know that we are working with our federal team, with Harry and his team, on getting $800,000 out of DC for infrastructure for the ferry. We'd love the state to be able to match that amount. I know that the federal piece is still kind of in the process of getting worked out, and I know there's some hurdles there we still need to come over, but I think we should put a request in this year for $800,000 for ferry infrastructure, and what we could use the federal dollars is potentially letting the state know it's not just the state that's putting money into this, but it's also the federal government as well. So I think between Senator DeSigley being the chair, the Transportation Economic Development Appropriations Committee, as well as Senator Hooper being the chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, I think it'd be a timely ask for us to put that forward. So Brad, what did I miss? Anything you wanted to, you may want to add on any of the items that I may have missed?
No, I'll just add, at my Florida Public Transit board meeting that end of last week, I spoke with and she was there, Gabe Matthews, the FDOT head of multimodal transit, and she indicated that yes, as Ron said, all these statewide programs were threatened last legislative session, and then ultimately, luckily, didn't get cut. And she was hopeful actually that some of the items that did get cut it seemed like they were maybe cut in error. And she thought maybe this coming session, they would walk some of those back. None of those really affected PSTA, they affected other agencies across the state, but I thought that was interesting. That it looked like some of the matching, program matching funds that were cut. She was hopeful that maybe some of that would be, maybe not all of it, but would be restored. And then I did speak with, I spoke with Robert Walker, our PSTA board member from Dunedin, about the matching funds. And of course, he was very supportive, and I'm trying to get in touch with the city manager of Dunedin to let her know, to talk to her about that. But I just wanted to add those two things of new information. But otherwise, I think it was very, like Ron said, it was very positive last legislative session. Communicating all that we are doing to be as efficient as we can, clearly. So I think that's important.
And Brad, the only thing I would add there, and Madam Chair, Brad and I kind of walked through this. We also wanted to come up with something. Last, we talked about doing something with the city of Dunedin. We supported their request, which I believe was not funded, Brad. I think that was correct, but is making sure that whatever, if we came up with a project, that the funding would come to PSTA and not another entity. We wanted an appropriations project that we could own, that was ours, that we would advocate on. The dollars would flow to us. We'd obviously possibly have to work with a local government, and in this case, Dunedin or somewhere else, if we're putting dollars into ferry infrastructure, but the dollars would actually physically come to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, Commissioner Peters, did you have any questions for Ron?
I do,
Okay,
but it's not about that.
Commissioner, make sure they're easy questions. It's 9:00 in the morning.
So, as the state is doing their DOGE on cities and counties, do you think they're going to start going after transit as well?
That's a good question. I think they would have a long list before they get down to special districts. I think special districts could be on the list, but I think there's a long list of cities and counties that would be probably would be ahead of us. But yes, I do think special districts could be something they would look at. Obviously, they would have the authority of any entity that's created by state statute. They'd have the ability to be able to do that. So I think it's a possibility. I'm hoping that would not, if it happened to be something we could deal with after session.
And a lot of the things that are, at least what I've seen in the DOGE letters, were already kind of tackled by the legislative session or the last two sessions with the Transportation Commission auditing us and
Right.
stuff.
I'm sorry, did we lose her?
Commissioner, are you there?
I think it looks like, from my angle, it looked like she was calling.
Oh. Commissioner Peters, are you there?
Yeah, I got cut off. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. Sorry, no,
So
hopefully.
I didn't get the end of that statement, but my intuition tells me they would go after transit for policy and money. So
Yeah.
I
And
think it would
the
be
good-
wise
and the
for
good
us to
news-
start.
And I think the good news, Commissioner, is by us talking about at the beginning some of the cost-effective transportation issues we've dealt with, we're reducing taxes. I know a lot of the local governments are going after right now are ones they're going after that are more related to ones that have raised taxes. Specifically, you could look at Gainesville and Orlando as two examples of that. Down in Broward, same thing. So we are obviously going the opposite way of reducing taxes.
I know, but
So I
we've
think
only been doing it for 2 years. They have been
Understood.
for many years to go that way. They
Yeah.
have not. So all during the pandemic, we were capitalizing on that and made our reserves extremely high. And so since we only started last year, rolling it back, and now this year, that's really not, they weren't looking at this year because they didn't know it yet. I would think that we would be a target. I really do think it would be a target. And because Linda Cheney made such an issue, and she brought a DEI kind of stuff, I just would think that we would be a target. So That said, I think we would be wise to start scrubbing, and we've talked about this, scrubbing
We have,
policies.
yeah.
We already did that.
Yeah, no, I know, I'm just saying, we gotta make sure we did it really well. So,
Point well taken,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, thank you. Did you have any other questions?
no, and Brad, I believe we can with consensus pass that legislative agenda. Not vote for it, but with consensus, and then you still can take it to the board, since we didn't have a quorum.
Yeah, well, I put on
Well-
the sheet that we could, it would be up to you. The schedule is listed down below. We're at the August Legislative Committee today. We could just refer this and hopefully we have a quorum at the September Legislative Committee where you could vote on it then and then vote on it in September, or we could just take it to the August PSDA board meeting to vote now. The committee weeks run starting October, I think.
They do. We have 2 in October and 2 in November as well, and I believe our trip right now is planned for November the 3rd.
Yeah, so a little bit toward one of the middle committee weeks. So we have a little time. It would be up to the two of you. Would you like us to just come back to hopefully have a quorum next month to vote on this, and or would you like to just have consensus and then take it to the board?
I'm fine with consensus and taking it to the board. I don't know about you, Gina.
I agree. The only question mark I have is around the possible $800,000 request for ferry infrastructure to match the federal grant funds, because that's still possible. I would love for that to happen. I'm completely supportive of it, but I think we would need to I mean, since that says possible, what, like,
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would recommend changing that if it's okay, Brad. I mean, I think we just go ahead and change that to take out the word possible and just put in the $800,000 request
Yeah.
and make that an actual action item.
yeah, I mean, we don't have to vote on that here. We can vote on it in the full board meeting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be the only change I would make as far as the verbiage, is to make that affirmative rather than possible.
Okay.
So, okay, good. So we do have consensus within this committee
Great.
to go ahead and move it forward. And it's always good to be a little bit ahead of the schedule, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Good. All right, well, so we've got that done. What else do you have for us today, Ron?
That is it, Madam Chair. Now, again, committee weeks start in October, which is obviously right around the corner. First 2 weeks in October, the week of I believe the 11th and 17th in November, first week of December and second week of December. Session starts January the 13th. So we're off and running. We do have the one trip planned for the week of Monday, November the 3rd and 4th and 5th, I believe, that Tuesday, Wednesday. And then we'll probably plan one additional trip from sometime in January, February, but we'll do that probably we'll plan that after our November trip. So that's all I have for you.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks for all that you do for us, Ron. We appreciate you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, all right, have
Thank
a
you,
good
Ron.
one. All right, next we'll go to our federal legislative update with the one and only Harry Glenn. Harry, do we have you with us today?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, but it's not okay. You're really breaking up, so I'm wondering if you need to be in a different spot.
I'm actually out on the road, so
You
can
sound
you hear
good
any
now.
of this?
That sounds better.
Well, if you're on the road, then you're probably gonna go in and out, so we'll just do what we can to get through this with you.
Okay.
But thank you.
So, I don't have a long agenda.
We're losing.
Harry, we don't have you.
Harry, I'm wondering do you think that maybe it would be better if we could just give you, like, maybe call your cell and have you on speaker, And maybe that's gonna give us a better audio connection with you. Since we can't see you anyway, we might as well do it on the phone, huh?
Hello?
Harry? Wanna try to call him? You can try to call him.
Harry, can you
Sure,
hear
that's
us?
fine.
Okay,
That's fine,
okay,
sure.
we're calling you.
You're getting a call from Debbie's phone. Harry?
Harry, let me turn up the volume.
Hi, Harry, we're,
Harry,
um,
say hello so I got the
I
volume.
am here, testing 1, 2, 3, sorry about that.
okay, thanks. I just wanna make sure that that phone has the volume all the way up.
Yeah.
Because now not only do we have Commissioner Peters on the phone, but Harry on the phone, and we need the two speaker phones to be able to hear each other. This is just next level today.
Yeah.
So Harry, what do you have for us?
Sorry I don't have, if you can hear me, a kind of a long report. Item 1 would be, on Friday night late, the Senate had confirmed Mark Molinaro as the new FDA administrator
Yes.
on a 71 to 23 vote. Very nice bipartisan vote. Senators Scott and Moody both voted for him, which is great. So he's now officially on the job, so that's great.
Yeah, that was great to finally see that go through. And leading up to that point, I've heard good things, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does, especially for us.
Yeah, the ANTA sent out a nice congratulatory message soon as, right after it was confirmed, so they seem excited about working with him. So I think he's going to be good. The second thing, just wanted to report back, and Brad can talk more about it too. Brad was in town in July. We did a couple meetings related to the taxi cab exemption. Brad had dinner with Congressman Sam Graves, the chairman of the Transportation Committee, and had a good chance to discuss the taxi cab exemption with him. I think Chairman Graves seemed fully supportive of what we're trying to do there. And, so it was a good meeting there. We also met separately with Congressman Rouser, who's the chairman of the Highway and Transit Subcommittee on the Transportation Committee. So we had a good meeting with him too. He also seemed well read in on the subject, and he also seemed very supportive, gave us some good advice on trying to recruit some other members to indicate their support. So I thought those were all very good meetings. And then when we were with Chairman Graves, he talked about the committee wanting to move out very quickly on an authorization bill for the next 5-year highway and transit bill, to the point where they want to start drafting legislation in September and get it to the House floor in October or November. So our meeting was well timed, and I think we're in pretty good shape there for the taxi cab exemption issue. So I thought that was helpful. Brett, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that or not.
Yeah, I would agree. I think as our meetings showed, this is an issue that seems we're pretty solid with the Republican, at least the Republican leadership. Maybe a little less solid with the Democrats, and so we have Congresswoman Castor is very supportive of us, of course, but I think that was the guidance that we got while Harry and I were up there, was to try to see if we could shore up some Democratic support too. Yeah, I don't know if Harry, you want to chime in on that.
Yeah, I think we saw Rick Larson briefly, Madam Chair. It was a quick meeting, but we did see him. But we did have time to visit with his committee staff, and she said the same thing, that we need to make sure we get some Democrats that are indicating support, because they typically want to make this bill as bipartisan as possible. So we'll see how that goes. The other thing, I just wanted to report on 2 other things. One is the House Senate appropriations process is chugging along slowly, but getting there. We reported on our last meeting that the House Appropriations Committee marked up its appropriations bill and included, as Ron mentioned earlier, funding for both the St. Petersburg and the Dunedin Pier infrastructure. So that's in the House bill. The Senate, as you know, our senators don't do earmarks, so there won't be anything in the Senate bill. They'll conference it out later in the year, the 2 bills. The Senate hasn't marked up their transportation bill, so we haven't seen any of their recommendations yet for transit programs in general. So they'll do that sometime in September. But they are actually seems to be trying to move an appropriations process along with the hope of not going on another full-year continuing resolution. So they'll have to pass a temporary continuing resolution at the end of September to keep the government running. And hopefully, I think their goal is to finish all the bills before Christmas. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. And then the last thing I want to report, Madam Chair, is Brad and Debbie and I did a call last week with the Department of Transportation. Really good call. We talked about the ferry boat grant that went to HARD in 2021 and the transfer of that money to TSTA. And I think, Brad, you or Debbie can elaborate on this, but I think the next day we got a call back, or TSTA got a call from DOT saying, things are moving along and been approved, correct, Brad?
Correct. It was great, fortuitous call that Harry got us with these young people at the Office of Secretary of Transportation. And the Zoom lasted about 10 minutes. And then boom, next day, we get the approval. Like, how do these things work? But whatever, 2-month delay with no information, and then Harry gets us a meeting, and it happens. And so we have gotten the approval. PSA is putting in the grant application for the $4.8 million for the ferry boat. And Al over there got the RFP out yesterday. So it's
For the operator?
Yeah.
What about the actual vessel?
it's a two-part RFP. Part one is the vendor is going to help us get the vessel with the grant, using the grant funds, and then they're going to run it.
Okay.
So we'll see what we can get.
Got it.
But thank you, Harry, for getting that call.
Yeah, no, it was good, and I think, Brian, honestly, working through all the good work that you and Debbie and the company have done, the group have done with the regional office, I think made all the difference. I think they clearly briefed up to the Washington office and gave a good report. So I think all that work you've been doing over the last couple of weeks really paid off. So good job by you all. And that's all I really had, Madam Chair. House and Senate are both in recess now until September 2nd. So pretty quiet in Washington, but otherwise we're doing okay.
All right, good. Well, it sounds like you guys have had good timing in a number of ways lately. That's good. Commissioner Peters, did you have any questions for Harry today?
No, that's all good news. Good to hear from you, Harry.
Okay, great. Regarding the taxi cab exemption bill, have you guys gotten any sense of what the timing is, like when this saga is going to come to a close?
Well, this about a month ago, I heard Uber said they had heard a rumor from FTA that FTA was going to cancel their efforts to actively implement a new regulation to ban us. Their proposed regulation to not allow us to use Uber and Lyft, they were gonna stop
Just,
pursuing that.
okay.
That's what Uber said they had heard that was gonna happen.
It's just, we've been advocating for this for quite some time.
Yeah, and then
And everyone we talk to, or you talk, it sounds like there's general agreement about this, that, it needs to go away. And I'm just wondering, is it going to
I don't know. And then
come to an end anytime soon?
it's a very detailed issue, and it would have to get into the authorization language. We're very hopeful that we can get it in to Chairman Graves' bill. Transportation bill, some kind of policy fix to the problem.
Yeah, hey Brad, it's Harry. I don't know if you can still hear me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Madam Chair, I think there are kind of three ways this could play out. One is FTA could just do nothing and not act on the pending regulation, and just leave it laying there, which is not ideal because that just means that if, when another administration comes in, the next administration, they can decide
Right.
they want to pick up and continue it, they want to do something different or whatever. It just leaves uncertainty. So I don't think that's necessarily a preferred outcome. The administration can actually take a formal notice to withdraw the proposed regulation. In other words, take it off the books so it's no longer pending. And then if a new administration came in, they would have to start all over again, which would be better than the previous
Yes.
plan, which is lays out there in abeyance. So I think if FTA would actually take the position that we're withdrawing it, we're suspending any further consideration of this, that would be better than the first option. And then the third thing we're working on is, as Brad mentioned, a legislative proposal which PSTA and Uber and some others have submitted to the committee staff for consideration to actually put on the books legislation that would reform how the whole taxi cab exemption issue and taking into consideration that THCs are now part of that weren't a part of that consideration when the taxi cab exemption was first created. So actually putting some statute on the books, which would provide certainty. That's what Uber really wants, Brad, and some of the transit agencies want certainty that they're going to continue to be able to operate and not have to worry about someday the rug pulling out from under you
Right.
and having to suspend operations. So I think that's the goal right now, with the authorization coming in later this year and next year, to try and get a law on the books to protect you going forward. So that's I think Brad, correct, our primary push right now.
Yeah, I agree. It's, it's, even if it's out there just languishing, it's still out there.
Right.
And so a more decisive action would be preferred.
There are, within the public transit world, the APTA world, the vast majority of transit authorities, cities, riders, are all very supportive of keeping it. They love it. And there are a couple of competitors, private companies, that are trying to compete with Uber and Lyft that are vocally opposed to doing anything to help Uber and Lyft. And then, as we heard some of the Democratic staff in Congress, mostly organized labor unions are sort of very worried about Uber and Lyft. Just generally, nothing about the programs or anything, but just Uber and Lyft don't have the greatest unanimous support, I would say. The unions are kind of opposed to Uber and Lyft for lots of different reasons. So those are the real challenges, I think, to getting into a bill, but it seemed like it's very supported by the customers, and that's why Congresswoman Castor is very supportive of it. And it's very efficient and saves us money. And I think that was very supported by the leadership that we talked to. So we're gonna try all three of those options that Harry mentioned. We're gonna hope for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, good. Harry, did you have anything else for us today?
No, ma'am. Hope everybody has a great August. And sorry again for the communication problem. Appreciate your working it out.
No, it's okay. We're all nimble that way, so we made it happen. Well, it was great hearing from you, and you find some time to take it easy, okay?
All right, thank you all.
All right, bye,
Good
Harry.
Hey, guys.
Take care.
Okay, now we'll go to other business. First, Brad, did you have any other items for the legislative committee for today?
No.
Commissioner Peters, did you have any other business to discuss for today?
I do not. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, well, in that case, our next meeting for this committee will be on September 10th, 2025 at 9 a.m. and we are adjourned. Thank you. And Commissioner Peters, you have,
Thank you for being flexible. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
absolutely, have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay,
Bye,
bye,
Ron.
Ron. Oh, I'm getting sad, you guys.
I know.
Are we finished recording?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
You mean tonight?